Hello everyone, welcome to the cottage. I'm Joey the Veiled Cottage Witch and welcome back to another episode of my Celtic Tree Ogham series. We are on the last tree on the branch of transformation. And today we're going to talk about the yew, the Idho Yew, and it's spelled I-D-H-O or I-O-H-O or sometimes I-O. And this is the I, the J, and the Y of the Celtic tree alphabet. And this is the tree of resurrection or the tree of eternity as it has been known. And let's take a look. This is Sherilyn Hidalgo's interpretation of the yew. We have this beautiful tall tree and it is very lovely in this interpretation. And then we have this old ancient yew here where you can see the inner and outer tree and lots of different shades. And here is the Ogham from the actual tree. And here is my own. I don't think I did too bad on this one. I think it looks pretty good. So, yes, we're finally on the very last tree in the basic, the classic trees. Next week, we will do a quick run through of the four Feta. And then after that, we'll be getting into the divination portion of it. And that's when things get exciting. So yews may be the longest living trees on earth. They are very ancient, very, very old. And in Britain, yews are commonly found growing next to ancient churches, and many are at least as old as the church. Others may be considerably older, and in some cases by thousands of years. We're talking old here. And the ancient yew at Fortingal in Perthshire, Scotland, is now established to be around 9,000 years old. My God, that's old. And I looked up a picture and check it out. I mean, we could only get parts of this yew in the picture, and crazy how old it is. And many yews are believed to be at least 2,000 years old. That's generally how old a yew is. Yeah, and what's cool is the lower branches of ancient yews, eventually they reach the ground and then they take root. And, forming and strengthening an outer trunk that supports the tree and protects its outer heartwood. And this habit of renewal throughout transformation, combined with the tree's longevity, earned the yew's name Tree of Eternity. If we leave it alone, can you imagine if we were to leave it alone and just let it do its thing, how immense it could be? Yeah, I mean, trees don't need us. They really don't. They don't need us at all. Yeah, they could just do its thing and they would just take over. And that'd be okay. I like trees better than most people anyway, really. So the yew was used to make longbows, and hence the species name taxus from the Greek for bow, which is taxon. It also yields a deadly poison, often used to tip arrowheads, making both the arrows and the tree doubly fatal. So yew bows have said to have killed 3 English kings, William Rufus, King Harold, and Richard the Lionheart. The Greek Artemis used poison from the yew on the tips of her arrows. And a fire-hardened yew spear tip was found in the rib cage of a woolly mammoth, according to archaeological evidence. So not only is it ancient, but it is very deadly. Yeah, so we should all fear and respect the ancient yew. Now, one of the 5 magical trees of Ireland was a yew known as the Tree of Ross. And to the Irish Olaves, the yew was the tree revered above all others. And the mythology of the Tuatha De Danann, the godlike magical race of ancient Ireland, one of the Ireland's last great warrior queens was Banba, this lovely sister of Fodla and Ire. And Banba was slaved and deified as a death goddess. And isn't she lovely? The yew, as the tree of life in death, was sacred to her and was known as the renown of Banba. Yeah, it's so old and ancient and very just there's a word, if there's a word older than ancient, revered maybe would be one of those words for it. Now, other ancient titles for the yew are Spell of Knowledge and the King's Wheel, which is said to refer to a brooch representing the continuous cycle of existence that was worn by Celtic kings as a reminder of their own death and rebirth. The yew was symbolic of this cycle. Now, through death, it opened the door to rebirth and to the eternal life of the soul. Now, the Druids believed that the yew could transcend time. And then their initiations, yew represented the high grade of ovate. Now, to achieve this level of consciousness, the initiate had to undergo a symbolic death in order to be reborn into a new level of awareness. Now, this was said to be beyond time and its limitations. The yew then became a direct link to the tribal ancestors and to the spirit realms, where we are told there are guides and guardians assigned to help each one of us if we allow ourselves to be open to their help. Very, very ancient and mysterious. Now, yew sticks were cast to divine the future, and yew rods were used for making long-lasting Ogham inscriptions. Because when seasoned and polished, the wood endures for thousands of years. The yew's resilient nature thus ensured that the magic imbued by the carved Oghams would continue long into the future. So when you did magic with the Ogham yew, the Idho Ogham, that meant forever, right? Now, wands and staffs of yew were considered especially potent because of this resilience. They were said to channel the magic power of the spirit of the tree, the might of the gods, and the will of the magician himself. Now, in legends around the world, a touch from a wand or a blow from a staff could cause great transformations, either for good or for evil, depending upon the intention, right? Now, superstitions surrounding the yew greatly enhance the magical power of its wood, fed by general fear of death and of awareness of the fatal uses to which the tree has been put, both as a weapon and as a deadly poison. Yeah, word of mouth spread, and that fear created an amalgamation itself. Crazy. Now, the yew is said to guard the doorway between this life and the next, and to prevent any interference by evil spirits in the other world. As a sacred tree of immortality, the yew is anciently associated with places of burial. where it is believed to protect and purify the dead. And in Brittany, it is said that the graveyard yew extends a root to the mouth of every corpse buried around it. The custom of putting sprigs of yew inside the shrouds of the dead was similarly believed to protect the immortal soul on its journey through the underworld. In ancient Greece, the yew was sacred to Hecate and also Persephone, or the Roman version, Proserpina. The sacred witch's cauldron in Shakespeare's Macbeth contains slips of yew silvered in the moon's eclipse, while Hebenon, the double-faded yew, is the poison that Hamlet's uncle poured into the king's ear to murder him. Yes, Shakespeare referred to the yew twice in his writings. Now, to the Christian church, the yew was the tree of resurrection, a symbol of Jesus rising from death after crucifixion. Now, in many legends, the yew is a symbol of ill-fated lovers who are truly only united in death. Now, this brings up Iseult and Tristan. Now, Iseult, a lady of Ireland who is wedded to Mark, king of Cornwall, whom she did not love, Iseult's mother prepared a love potion to make her daughter fall in love with her new husband, but it was drunk instead by Mark's nephew, Tristan. He and Iseult fell passionately in love, and after many partings and tricks of fate, they died in each other's arms. Tristan and Iseult are said to have been buried above Merlin's cave at Tintagel Castle in Cornwall, England. Isn't this a beautiful place? My gosh. Where within a year, a yew tree sprouted from each grave. 3 times King Mark cut the yew trees down, and 3 times they grew back. 3 times they grew back, until finally Mark gave in and allowed them to grow. And at last their branches reached towards each other, becoming so entwined that they could never more be parted. Isn't that beautiful? Destined. Destined. Absolutely. Now, the lesson of the yew as a tree whose possible life outspans that of all other trees, as well as much of the course of human history to date. The yew is symbolic of the sum of all wisdom. Just as the yew contains the lessons of all the other trees, so it is said, do we contain all the experiences, knowledge, and understandings of our ancestors. The yew tree reminds us of this possibility. It emphasizes the relatively brief span of human life and the short-term nature of many of our beliefs and practices, which so often prove inadequate over time. As the culmination of the spiritual journey, the ultimate lesson of the yew is the transcendence of death. Isn't that awesome? I mean, when I read that, I was, wow. Yeah, our lifetime is a blip when you compare it to thousands of years. It's a blip. It's a blink. That's it. That's all we get. So it's important that we do not take this lifetime for granted. It's a blink of an eye. All right, on to practical and magical uses. Now, yew leaves were once burnt as divinatory incense in addition to their ritual use at Samhain, but only when outside. You know, you didn't want to burn anything yew inside. Their toxicity is so powerful that it was once thought that to sleep beneath a yew was certain to lead to death. It is now thought that the sap produces a vapor that can invoke altered states of consciousness, but real and extreme caution should be used, of course. Yew wood was never needlessly cut for the same reason, in addition to the great respect given to this tree. Yeah, you don't want to go and just break a branch off of this tree for shits and giggles, guys. Please don't do that to this tree, or any tree really, but especially not to this tree. With its connections to the underworld, yew is utilized in all sorts of ancestral magic, as well as to protect against negative forces and unwelcomed ghosts. A few leaves placed upon the altar or worn when journeying or invoking ancestral assistance can be very effective, but again, caution should be used when handling all parts of the tree. The wood is less toxic, but it is best oiled or varnished to provide a barrier. Like, this has been treated, okay? This is not a raw piece of yew. This has been treated. Yeah, I can tell. It doesn't feel like I'm going to get a splinter or anything when I touch it. Yew is an extremely dense, close-grained wood, excellent for carvings. Votive offerings made of yew wood has been found in British holy wells and springs. However, it was also used to make wheels, cogs, and handles. Archaeologists have found various objects made of yew in the UK dating as far as the Neolithic era. Yew is most famously used in making excellent longbows and knife handles, where the wood's great strength and durability were valuable characteristics. The earliest longbow ever found was discovered at Ashcott Heath in Somerset, England, dating to 2665 BCE. Modern archers report no ill effects from using yew bows. So that's good. Yeah, hopefully they treated it, or it was young enough to where it's not going to cause any damage. Yew wands are particularly powerful, preferably when made of wood fallen from a tree, with its permission and with whom you already have established a relationship, right? You've met the tree, you've communed with that tree's spirit, and have gathered that wood with permission. Now, when working with a yew wand, always, again, oil, wax, or varnish it before use. Now, the yew wand not only aids in harnessing the great knowledge of infinity and ancestors, it also may assist in contacting deep land-based ancestral lines, following in the very path of the Druids who walked the land before us. So that would be really cool. That would be really cool. Now, in spell work, you can place Idho, the Ogham, or use sprigs with berries on your altar during divination sessions to heighten psychic abilities. You can hang a sachet of dried berries on a bedpost or place it on the bedside table to soothe bad dreams. Place 3 berries on your altar to aid in turning inward during the dark half of the year to nurture yourself, and then burn them at Yule. Or use sprigs on the Samhain altar, aid in drawing ancestors close. If you have a spirit in your house that troubles you, hang sachets with yew leaves and berries or sprigs of yew in active areas on the dark moon. As you do this, suggest that the spirit follow the energy of the yew to find peace and rest in the other world. On the full moon, take the sprigs or sachets down and burn them outside. So there you go. Now, your linked concepts. This is when you can use yew or the leaves, the berries, or the wood, or the Ogham sigil. I'm only really comfortable using the Ogham sigil. We don't have yews growing around here. So my magic only includes the Ogham sigil itself. but this is your linked concepts when you can use it for magic. All right, so we have adaptability, the afterlife, ancestors, changes and transitions, communication, death and funeral practices, divination, dream work, hexes to remove or ward off those, knowledge to seek or acquire knowledge, loss or sorrow, that is to ease or recover from, negativity to remove or ward off, the other world, protection, psychic abilities, renewal, spirit guides or spirits, strength, and wisdom. So that's when you're going to know to use the Ogham or Yew. So just be careful, be wise, be respectful. All right, here's your correspondences of Idho Yew. Elements: air, fire, and water. Your zodiac is Capricorn. Your deities: Artemis, Baive, Banba, the Karyak, the Dagda, Dionysus, Don, the Furies, Hecate, Hermes, Hole, Loki, Lu, Odin, and Saturn. The color: dark green. Your totems: the spider, elves, fairies, deer, eaglet, and hummingbird. The calendar is winter solstice. Your related species are those in the Taxaceae species, or fern, spruce, pine, cypress, or other evergreen species. So you can always substitute. Okay. Now on to the healing properties of yew. Yew has a unique quality amongst the Ogham. It is the only poisonous tree. The only one. So in many ways, the poison serves to protect its powerful energies and guard access to its knowledge. Energetically, yew can help us come to terms with our own death and to find healing and solace in the realms beyond. To our eternal souls, this is the greatest healing of all. It also helps balance psychic burnout, or times when our awareness has expanded excessively fast, leading to inflation, fear, or mental illness. The best way to work with the yew for healing are to make a vibrational essence where the water used only comes into the energy field of the tree and no physical matter is used, or to commune directly with the tree spirit. Both of these approaches are recommended so long as the tree is regarded with the utmost respect and care. Treat this tree like you would a high chief of a tribe, like a druidic or shamanic tribe. If you were to meet the highest order of leader in a tribe, I mean, like, because that's really what you're dealing with here. You are meeting the highest order of tree. And so this is meeting the big boss, all right? You have got to understand that it needs the utmost respect. Yeah, absolutely. Now, as a vibrational essence, yew is very grounding and heals psychic burnout from excessive spiritual or magical work. It lends perspective and a calm, steadying presence, understanding a mortal's challenge in an infinite universe. In this way, it balances the micro and macrocosm, soothing any anxiety the shift in perspective may provoke. It also helps with issues relating to grieving and aging, as well as helping to prepare the soul for the inevitability of death and the promise of rebirth. So, yeah, when we come to that point in our lives, you can help us transition in that part, in that way. Now, in divination, we'll use my own this time. Upright, when drawing this upright, it can mean death and rebirth, transition, change, endings, and beginnings. But if we draw it upright, we're stuck in that grief. We're unable to make that change. We're unable to accept that change, and we're resisting those transitions. Okay? Pretty simple. It's kind of like the death card in tarot. Very, very similar to the death card. All right, so that was Idho Yew, the last tree in the branch of transformation. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that I have not beat a dead horse when I tell you how much respect that this tree should get. I've met a very old tree before. I met a very, very old redwood, and it was huge. And I felt so small and insignificant that I had a very visceral physical reaction. And I cried. And it was so overwhelming. I'm getting choked up talking about it. But trees give us so much that we could never in our lifetime ever give trees the amount of respect that they need, ever. So I'm sorry if I overdo it a little bit in talking to you guys about how much we need to respect trees, but we really do. We have needlessly cut them down. We have needlessly used and overused their resources. We have a lot to make up for. A lot to make up for. So that's where I'm showing my heart here. So, okay, please give this video a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Please go over to my website at theveiledcottagewitch.com, where you can book a service, book a reading, book a class, book a workshop. You can also shop my online store where I have holistic healing products and ritual and spell aids. Make sure that you download the app so you don't miss out on any of my products. That app is super important that you download that app. Or you can just go over to the website on your computer and you don't miss anything on that. So, if you'd like to financially support this channel, I would super appreciate it. There are several ways you can do that down in the description box below, or you can just simply scan this QR code that'll hit you over to buy me a coffee. No big deal if you can't do it. I appreciate all the support anyway. Just live your best life and live for yourself. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.